Well, Daryl, I hope you are up from your late morning nap. Get out of bed because there is something to see. Obviously, it is the 5th day of free agency and league deals will become official today. Hopefully, everything goes through all right and the Sixers supporting cast has gotten better. But we know that our eyes are on the larger prize and, well, there is more substance to see here today. That's right, Sixers fans. What have we been saying the last week? What have I been preaching? Hope and pray. Hope and pray that the Blazers swing and miss in free agency. And guess what? Well, that's exactly what they have done. And a certain someone named Damian Lillard has something to say about it. Let's talk about it. Perfect. What is going on, everybody? RB here. Welcome back on into Philly Take with RB, where we talk about the Philadelphia sports every day. Like always, if you guys do enjoy this content, take a second, drop a like on the video, help your boy push the content out, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and be sure to ring the bell so you always get those notifications. And be sure to check out the first ever Philly Take with RB merch store. The Teesprings link will be down in the description. I really appreciate it. All right, let's talk about it. So, just going about another day of Sixers free agency. And that's right, we have some news out of Portland's camp. Well, actually, an interview that Damian Lillard did, I'm guessing in the past couple days. And The Athletic put out a piece on it today. And we know that Daryl Morey has been playing this risky waiting game because at the situation that we are at, right? The Sixers can do one of two things. They can go out and they can sell Ben, for some lower value and try to get some draft compensation and clear some cap space, or they can play this risky waiting game that they have. And meanwhile, some of these other teams, for example, the New York Knicks went out and they signed Kemba Walker off waivers. They picked up Evan Fournier. A lot of these other teams went with those other options. Meanwhile, Daryl Morey, we know this guy is a huge swinger, right? I had Austin Krell on yesterday, Sixers writer and reporter, and he talked about this exact thing, saying that, Daryl Morey is that type of guy, and he always has been, where he's going to try to demand a lot. He's going to try to demand the world, and he's going to live or die by it. He's the guy with the sunglasses that sits in the high roller room. That's who Daryl Morey is. And, he's going to try to demand a lot. And, if it pans out, that'd be great. Obviously, let's be honest, Daryl Morey has missed multiple times right at the trade deadline and so far in free agency, at least on a larger player. But I just have a feeling that he has something up his sleeve. Obviously, we talked about this yesterday as well before we look at the Lillard stuff. Jason Dumas put out a report from Bleacher Report about Ben Simmons, saying that he had pretty much cut ties and cut communication with the Sixers. And this was an extension onto that report. He said he's open to the California teams. Joel Embiid has actually reached out to Ben Simmons, and, he hasn't returned any of his calls. He hasn't returned Embiid's calls. He doesn't want to return to the Sixers. Damage has been done. It kind of, it feels like the writing is on the wall at this point. It doesn't feel like there can be a reunion between Ben Simmons and, the city of Philadelphia. But anyway, Damian Lillard did an interview and he said some interesting things. Like I said, we have been hoping and saying the Blazers need to swing and miss in free agency. And again, that is what they have done. And Damian Lillard, before going to the Olympics in Tokyo, he was not committed on the Blazers. Now, he said, I expect to see myself in a Blazers uniform next season. Let me tell you something. In regular terms, that means absolutely nothing. A guy has to say that. I mean, come on. We have to read between the lines a little bit, people. We have to use our sense. Of course he has to say that. I mean, he's still on the team. He still has 4 years left on his deal. He has to say that. Same thing James Harden said and all these other guys, right? But Damian Lillard, for once, he's tired of going home in the first round. He hasn't been committed. And what did he say in that interview that we read from Chris Haynes where he opened up? He said, we have to take a look in the mirror, even though we have a new coach in Chauncey Billups. We have to look in the mirror and think, are we a championship team? And the answer is no. He knows they're not good enough. They're a small market. It's hard for them to attract talent. And, well, of course he's busy with the Olympics, but of course he's expecting his team to maybe try to come out here and try to satisfy his needs, right? Go trade for a star, do something. And realistically, they haven't done anything. But in this interview, Damian Lillard says some very interesting things. He says the Blazers weren't able to get some of the guys they would have liked during free agency as he discussed his role in recruiting players with reporters on Friday. Quote, when you go into free agency and things like this, you never know what happens. You never know where guys are going to end up and why they go there. You just try to have conversations and convince guys to be a part of our team, which, again, is very hard for them. And obviously, this go around, we weren't able to go out there and just get some of the guys that we would have liked. And you go down the list and you go through the guys that are out there that you like, who haven't committed to a team or were a part of your plans in free agency, and you get the ones that want to be a part of what you're doing, and I think that's what we did. Essentially, what Damian Lillard is saying here is that they settled for less. Tony Snell, Cody Zeller, come on, that's not a championship roster. We know that, right? A lot of people do. But it's not Dame's fault. It's not really the Blazers' fault, I guess. I mean, they haven't, built a championship team around him over the last 9 years. But, I mean, it is hard for them to attract big names, which is why, again, they have to go out via trade and get it done. But they didn't. And if you have to look at this and read through it a little bit. He's saying, he's not coming out. He doesn't want, to be on bad terms with the Trailblazers, right? He wants to help them out as a franchise for everything that they've done for him. But at the end of the day, you can see, like I've been saying, as much of a loyal player as you can be, there comes a point in time, and we're seeing it with stars around the league who we thought would never join a super team. There's just a point where you have to go and contend if you really want to win a championship in your career. And where the Philadelphia 76ers sit at, I mean, we have the assets. We have the situation right here with a star that's unhappy on our team. And, a lot of other teams bit already because they didn't want to wait and play that risky waiting game. But Daryl Morey doesn't care. And he's going to, he's going to stick it throughout. He's going to stick it throughout and see what happens. And to be honest, I could see Damian Lillard coming back, right, for camp. I could see it happening. But I don't really think he's going to make it through a month or two of the season. And honestly, I don't know if he's going to make it after these Olympics are done, because I respect Damian Lillard for saying that he wants to keep things behind closed doors, and that's what he's done. But he's continually said, I haven't made a firm decision on my future. And that tells you all you need to know. He's not committed. And you see, during the 2021 free agency, the Blazers re-signed their top target, Norman Powell, to a 5-year, $90 million deal. But they did not make as much of a splash as other title contenders. That's really all you need to see, man. I mean, the writing is on the wall. The Blazers can either sell him now and get as much assets as they can, or they can try to keep him around, stick around, see what they can do. But at the end of the day, are they really going to be able to make that move that puts them over the top? I don't think so. And I think at that point, you just have to rehaul. You just have to retool and do what you can and sell at the highest point possible. Obviously, Damian Lillard, I don't see him getting disgruntled with the franchise. So I believe both sides will be willing to help. But if he becomes available, of course, other teams are going to be interested. There's teams that might try to throw in a star. But the Blazers are going to want to get younger, stock up on draft capital. And the Sixers have everything in their right mindset right now. We're trying to actively shop Ben Simmons. We have young players that have a ton of potential and upside. And, well, even if we were to sell Ben Simmons, we could get draft capital. That's what Daryl Morey's been trying to do. But he also has to be careful. The timing, right? He doesn't want to throw an offer that Portland looks at and they say, well, we're not going to do business with you anymore. You're trying to, get one over on us. We can't do that. So we have to hit at the right time. And to be honest, I think now is the right time. I think Daryl Morey is probably on the phone with the Trailblazers, and I think he probably is doing everything he can to not hang up that phone. So we'll see what happens coming in the next few weeks, but you can see it, man. Damian Lillard is tired of it. What better fit would there be to come alongside a dominant center? I mean, Dame and Joel Embiid, that would be must-watch basketball. It's obviously not a guarantee. There's going to be a ton of interest, but the Sixers have a lot to offer, and I think if he becomes available, the Sixers have patiently waited, and they could be willing to go all in. And I think Daryl Morey, given his track record, that's what he tends to do. He tends to wait for the big name, and he tends to push all the chips in the middle of the table. But those are just my thoughts. I want to hear from you. Let me know down below in the comments section. What do you make of this whole situation? Do you see Dame requesting out or staying in Portland? Do you think the Sixers could potentially have their grabs at him? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments section. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Peace.
Perfect.